Hello, Freddy.
Hey, hey,
How
Dick.
are
I'm
can
good. Good.
you know me? You know me. We know each other. We were the first time we ever met, and this is a long story, so I'm going to make it very short.
Of
We
course.
were at the Grammys. It was 2018, I think.
Yes. Yes.
And
The
it,
Groundlings.
and you said to me, "Why are you wearing a rose?" And I said, "It's not a rose. It's a pendant." And it was a pendant, and it continues to be a pendant, and that's
Do
okay.
do you still you did tell me something about the pendant. It had a meaning to you. You found it, I think, in you what you said is you found it in a wood, which is
In a
such an
wood,
English thing to say, in a wood.
right? In a
Do you
wood,
remember do you
right?
remember what that story was again? Because I was intoxicated by your story, but also
Thank you.
in general by the party favors that were available. Where what wood? Where is a
Well,
wood?
first off, I did not give permission for those party favors. Those were simply put upon us, and I think we both enjoyed ourselves. And the reason they call it a wood and not woods, and you know this, is probably because, it's only one square area. It's not big enough to be multiple woods.
Is that an English thing? Like I'm assuming you're from. We never talked about where you're from, but I'm
Right.
assuming you're from England. Is that a unit of measurement? Like a wood? How much wood does have to be within a wood to be considered a wood? When does it become plural?
Well, how much wood can a woodchuck? I mean, think about it. Start there. A
The, the,
very, very significant amount of wood. And it was and is and continues to be a place where people go and they're not really so taken aback, but they are, does the car work? How well does the car work? Are we going to be able to get out of here before it gets too dark? And I think that's what happened that night. We both got very dark and we pulled ourselves together. And I
see
believe,
the way you speak is just it kind of it's the same way you write your music. It's why I'm such a huge fan of yours. It's almost like a riddle upon a riddle within a riddle, as if I don't know Christopher Nolan was writing your speech as it came out of your brain. Like, how does that? As such a fan of your work, do you speak in riddle like that on purpose? Does that inform your art
well, I
and who
don't
you
think that
are?
I do. I don't think that I do, and I don't think it's very strange, and I don't think it's very obvious, and I don't think it's very illustrious.
Mm.
But when I speak in tangents, and I speak in melody, and I don't speak in riddle, riddle. I speak in riddle, rittle. So that's the circumference. The circumference is what you want it to be, and it continues to be very strange, very weird, very understood.
Okay. What, pray tell, is that, am I more in your line of speaking? What, pray tell, is the word riddle with a T? Two T's. I never heard it spelled or seen it or read it spelled that way. Is that something that I should be aware of?
Well, you should go on Reddit and you should read it,
Mm,
and
Riddle, read it.
you should
That's,
find
that's
you
why you have
should
the career you
find
have.
well,
Yeah.
and that's why I look up to you, Freddie,
Well, thank
because
you.
all of me is one of my favorite songs, and you know, I've looked at you. I can't remember the first line. So I look at your stupid face. Or what was it? The first line of the song.
Yeah. Let's look at your stupid face.
No, I'm
I love.
kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking. But
Yeah, you
what
know,
was it?
I like to write from a place of honesty, and you know the actual what you're referencing is the first draft of the song was "Look at your stupid face," but it was meant in a colloquial in kind of like a sweet way, like you're so cute, you're stupid, and and I like to write from a place of vulnerability like that. What happens is, you know, in our business is that the big wigs, the suits, if you will, they'll come in and change it. So you can't start out the gate calling the audience stupid and say their face is stupid when maybe they do have a stupid face, but
Well,
you
yeah.
just yeah, you don't want to call, you don't want to insult your audience off the bat, basically.
You don't, not right off the bat. Not
No,
right off the bat.
no,
But you
no, no.
do eventually want to say something to them that they can hold and maybe teaches them a lesson about something they don't know, because you just talked about getting notes on your song. I
Mm.
mean, that has to be difficult. I get no notes because I'm on an independent label. It's my own label. But when you get notes, what does that feel like and where does it take you?
I would say it feels limiting. It feels like there's a barrier to the true art that I want to make and express myself. I don't like when people give me notes that because I'm not at a status, I would say, where you are, being a legend that you are. I'm working towards there, but I would love to get to a place where someone says, it's good as is. It does feel somewhat limiting. It feels like someone's trying to stifle me, which uh, can either be something that is very hard to deal with, or it reignites a further need to go deeper into the artistry and kind of come up with double entendres and things for, let's say, your face isn't stupid, but it's silly. Um, in order to bypass the censors that be and get something made and seen. You come, we did meet at the Grammys, and you come from a different era where the companies and the people in charge were just fully invested in your artistic vision. I am more a cog in the machine at this point, trying to get my artistry out there, but a lot of the times it's being stifled by, frankly, those who I think would have a stupid face and stand in the way of true art. But your process, it looks nothing like that, right? Yours is just one of
Well, well,
pure creation.
it's like Plato said, the company you keep is not necessarily a company, you
Mm.
know.
Plato said that?
Plato said that, not the same
Mm.
Plato,
Oh, okay.
not the
Different,
same,
a different Plato?
different Plato.
Are you
It's hard
saying
to.
Plato or Play-Doh?
Well,
Like
I'm
the,
not saying anything. All I'm saying is the difference between you and me is this scarf. That's the only difference.
that is nice scarf. Would
It's the
that be
only
considered a
difference.
scarf or an ascot?
Well, it's how you look at it, isn't it? Is it the colors or the
Mm.
grouping? The grouping with the colors. It's
So
almost red, but it's not.
it's Almost Red, and that is one of my favorite of your records.
Thank you.
Almost Red, but it's not.
Thank you.
Going, yeah, and truly you are a legend. I do feel like I speak for a lot of your fans and people in your world when I say that I don't know anything about you personally. Um, could you, as a big fan of yours, you inspired a lot of my work. Could you tell me
Right.
anything about like your
N-
past history? You seem to
n-
carry a lot.
No, I would be too embarrassed to do something like that. Just so embarrassing. Nicknames, where I went to school, the type of, band lessons. For a long time, I tried to learn many different instruments. I wasn't
Mm,
able to. I could only read. I could read music, but I couldn't write music, and I couldn't find myself even in a song. I would get lost. I would start off on a B minor, and then
yeah,
I would end up on a Z, which
I see.
people say is not possible, but it happened to me, and I remember it, and it was very strange.
Oh, you couldn't read or write music, but you found a new note that most of us will never find, which is the Z chord.
But
And
no one will ever believe me. I mean, even yourself, you had trepidation when you said it. It is hard to prove your case when Z is not, it's not uh, accepted.
it is,
It's not
yeah, it is
accepted.
not widely accepted in the 12 note scale. And it doesn't usually go to Z. But what I find fascinating about you and your work is that you go there. You may not be able to read or write, but you go there. So how does something like a Z come to you? Like, what is your process, and what is
Well,
happening
but
with you?
by the very nature of a Z, it looks like a snake. So what does a snake do? A snake goes at you sideways, and sometimes it lumbers in your closet, and it looks at you, and it looks at your socks, and it judges you for the type of socks you wear, when really they're not your socks. They were made somewhere else, and you bought them, so they're yours by proxy.
Mm.
But I never ask anybody anything. There's no reason to know anything about me. There's nothing particularly interesting about me. I'm just a guy
I
or a
mean,
girl.
I did. Oh, or sure. I mean, that's very
Well,
progressive of you, and
I like to keep it open. This world isn't over yet.
yet. I have two questions. One, you did say something about a snake judging you, and this is something I wondered about you for quite a long time. Do you have the ability to speak and communicate with animals? Because you knew what the snake was thinking of you. Is that something that I'm not tapping into as a musician that I should?
No, you're tapping into what you're doing right now is you're being lyrical, you're being quite unconventional, and you are coming at me in a type of way that would make me respond in another type of way.
Hmm.
But I don't think any of it is important, and I don't think I have any abilities. That's the same reason that I don't use this pop screen, is because I don't need it, because I know when I come to a pop, I'm about to pop, I'm about to pop. I don't pop, I never pop.
You
I
know,
don't allow myself to pop.
you do not
And
pop.
even if it's a snake that's a sock, that it's not a sock, it doesn't matter because I don't pop. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, it makes absolutely 0% not sense, meaning it makes perfect sense to me.
Right,
I can tell what you're, a snake is not a pop is not a snake.
right.
That sounds like a lyric. That sounds like one of your lyrics.
Well,
Um,
it is a lyric. It is a
right.
lyric now, and we own that song together. So now we were forced to work on a song together. By
Are
the way,
we?
your
Yes.
hair could not possibly be kept up that well into the day. You must have just put your fingers through it.
I often try as much as I can throughout the day to do a good finger run through. As you know, appearance is important. I mean, look at you. You look fantastic. You have the
Thank
ascot.
you.
You have the great shirt. So I think, yeah, running your fingers through your hair, getting a little pop out of the hair, especially when you're going to sit down virtually through the internet with a legend like yourself. I had to, of
Thank
course,
you.
come correctly, and look the part. That's why I have this linen shirt on, with a slightly unbuttoned, just to look approachable enough, but it is linen, so it's a nicer shirt. I don't know where it's from, but it's
Well, you could, mm,
yeah,
mm.
yeah, yeah.
You could
So
stretch it out. You could stretch it out onto a twin mattress, and you would get very far. You would get farther than you think you would get. I love,
that is
I
true.
love,
That
I
I do love
love
to wear
that.
fabrics that I could double as sleepwear, just in case I enter a room or a bedroom that does not have bedding. A common sheet thread fabric is linen, so I try to wear as much linen as I can, just in case I need to make a bed anywhere around me. Because really, I
Right.
make you make your bed and you lie in it, and
You
that's
do,
something that's more, yeah,
unless you're going out of town, and then you don't lie in it. There could be a delay of 1, 2, 3, 4, 2 weeks. Who knows?
that's a good point.
But I like when you put your fist on your head like that.
Very like this.
There's a it's almost a Richard Marx move from the 80s. There's almost a juxtaposition to feeling good and then feeling okay, and now you've got one finger on it,
You
and
see
and I
that?
feel that's good
Hmm.
too. But that might be a lot of pressure on that one finger because your head is not 1.1 ounce, you know?
But maybe there's no pressure on the finger, and it's just like a cool, is he balancing his head on his finger? What is
Right,
he
right.
doing? It's trying to add to the mystery of what I'm trying to pull off with this linen shirt and this chandelier that is made of, I believe, the antlers of several deer that I did not kill myself. They donated this
Well,
actually to me.
the deer gave them to you. The other
The
deer
deer.
gave you the deer bones.
They do. At times, I will be standing in my yard and be approached by deer, and I believe that because I also am connected to what you would call Gaia, the Mother Earth, and that's where I get a lot of my influence and songwriting capability. I believe the animals give me gifts in order to inspire me, and I think they wanted me to have this chandelier. It came fully wired from them. All I had to do was
You
plug it in.
mean wired like some sort of drug, like a speed or something like this?
I was wired, but the chandelier came wired by the deer. The deer had wired it, installed the bulbs, and gave it to me in order for me to hang it there. And I thought that was a very sweet gift because typically you would hear about deer just giving an antler, but I don't know if they do a lot of electrical work, but they did for me. And that's something that I attribute to my songwriting and songcraft, that they maybe the creatures of the forest have heard what I'm doing.
You might be out of your mind. You might be completely out of your mind and inside someone else's mind. And do you mind that?
I don't think I mind that. I think, if you want to get really esoteric about it, aren't we all kind of gestures in the play of someone else's mind? All right, what is reality, and who are we, and are you real?
Right.
Am I real? Are we real? Are the Grammys real? I mean, what is real?
The Grammys, yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it's like, what is reality, and also what does it cost? And also at what cost? Because it's very strange and very weird to be in this world. Everybody's talking about AI. Everybody just said they just made something on AI or they saw something on AI. It's almost every other conversation I've had has been
yeah.
about AI.
And you come from another world, the world before the world of AI, where you had to grind. I mean, your stories, your famous stories of grinding in the studio Quaaludes with David Bowie and writing all this
Mm,
music.
mm,
Like you come
mm.
from a world without that. I'm curious. I've been wanting to ask. I've sent you several emails on this, but I don't think you communicate the way the rest of us
I
do these days.
don't.
Which
I don't.
what is your opinion on AI and what that means for us as musicians and songwriters?
Well, I think it's a metropolis, isn't it, really? It's sort of somebody putting house paint where you should be applying paint for a painting or something
Hmm.
that is not on the side of a fence or the side of a building. But I
Sure.
think AI offers nothing. All it does is it stops us from thinking, and people get more lazy and they work on it, and things become, tribal and then not tribal, and then it's the change from tribal not to tribal back to tribal that makes it so tribal.
See, that's why you're a legend, because that made me think. It almost made me cry. I'm almost weeping, but I want to keep it together because obviously I'm in the presence of greatness. Can I ask you another question about AI?
Well, it's
Um,
funny you say that, and yes, you can. But first, notice the tear coming down my. I don't know if the camera can, but I'm also crying
so
for the
we are
greater
crying.
good of. We
We are
are
crying.
crying.
We are united in emotion at this moment.
We are put down like a dog that can't walk anymore in the 1930s. By the way, what are your thoughts of the 1930s? Do you like the 1930s? Have you ever spent much time in the 1930s?
I am unfortunately a little too young to have spent time in the 1930s, but I think things were going pretty well up until the end of them. And then I think the world took a little bit of a turn. Let's say they went with a different direction.
Could you say One Direction?
You could say one direction. You could say a very severe one
Right,
direction. Yes,
right,
absolutely. I mean, they
right,
did they definitely had a style, a hairy style way of doing things
right, right,
around
right.
1939, I would say. 1939, which would have been the name of Taylor Swift's album if she was born in 1939, but she was born in
R-
1989.
Right, right, right. And it's very weird and very strange to think of such things, such delicate things. But everything is delicate on some level, I guess. But what do you feel about, I mean, you seem to be in great shape. Are you vegan? What do you do with what do you eat?
I eat a lot of protein and salads. I try to keep it light and lean, just in case I need to pick up and run from anything. I think that there's always a chance that something or someone will be chasing you, and I like to be in a shape, not for cosmetics, but just mainly to be able to escape a looming threat. Because don't you feel that too, Ditto? Don't you feel that the threats are all around us?
Right, right. Well, it's hard. It's very, very difficult. Most people don't know what to do themselves. Sometimes you think you know what to do with yourself, but you don't. You actually don't know what to do with yourself. Even right now, even as we talk, even as we speak, and I look at your window, I notice another roof, and that's what it really becomes: is where's the next roof? How do I get to the
Mm,
next roof? And that talks
mm.
to floods and things like this. But you're not. Are you in a flood zone?
I am not in a flood zone, but that makes me think of something else that we have in common, which is a love for home insurance. And it seems that you're really well versed in the types of things that could affect the structure of a home, like a flood. And I don't know where you live or where you are now, but I hope it's somewhere
Right.
safe from flood.
Well, who knows? You know, sometimes I forget to turn off the shower, and it overflows, and to what degree it overflows, I don't know, but it will cover your toes when it overflows.
There it is. There's that prose, a prosaic way that you speak again. Um, what I wanted to ask you earlier about AI, you are obviously and have been for quite some time the penultimate sex symbol of the music industry. Would you? I don't know what your preferences are, and I truly, it doesn't bother me, nor do I care to know. But would you copulate with a robotic partner, an AI of sorts?
I would do things. I would cuddle. The first thing I would do with a robot is cuddle, and I would see how much, you know, how much touch there is and how much feel there is, and if it's hard plastic, it's hard plastic. But I would, of course, I would rather have it be, a fake wool or something, you know. I would
So
rather
you,
it be,
you hold on.
yes.
You want your robot to be covered in wool? Is that a preference?
Well, I want fake wool, though. You have to be
Oh,
very careful. It's like when you order ravioli. You don't say,
sure.
I want cheese when you want actually vegan vegetables.
How would Ditto Kiddo order ravioli at a restaurant?
Well, I
Let's say,
don't
do you want
know.
to role play? Like if I was a waiter, if I was like, sir or ma'am, what would you like? We have only ravioli. What would you like? Some ravioli?
Well, I would question the restaurant only having
Mhm.
ravioli. I mean, that seems very weird and very pre preposterous
Sure.
to say something like that. Because, I mean, why don't you have veal shanks? Or why don't you have vegan vegetables?
Wouldn't all vegetables be vegan?
Wouldn't they all? I don't know. You should ask
Mm.
them.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's a great point. And field shanks is what exactly?
Well, it's something that happens very often, and most people don't see it. Veal. No, did you
Oh,
say
oh,
field?
veal.
I
Did you
said
say field
veal.
or veal? Oh, I
Well,
thought I
now I wish I would have said field. It's much
yeah,
more interesting of a word, and it doesn't even go with shanks. So, so to answer your question, I suppose we're not going to answer your question.
about making love to AI wrapped in wool, but I
No,
do.
but it's people think it's very strange, but some people feel like wool. Their brains are wool.
That's I love the way you add syllables to words that have that or the rest of us think there's one or two of them, but you add syllables. You say wool, and I
I
think
was a big Robert Wool fan.
oh Robert Wool,
Just from his name. I
yeah,
loved his name, Robert Wool. And you would say it and you would stretch it over the continents.
like a
But I want to
comfortable
talk about
blanket.
you, and I want to talk about, if you don't mind, talking about John Legend and working with John Legend, and
Sure.
in the fact that he is a legend and he fit right into his name.
Yeah, John is a very talented guy. He executive produced a television show that I worked on, which was on AMC and IFC and Hulu. It was on so many networks, and it was called Sherman's Showcase. And
Right, right.
he is a great talent, and I played with him live before. We did some shows. We did a show for Sherman's Showcase. A lot of the word show in all of this, which I love because life is a show, right? Life is a cabaret in a way.
Mm,
That rhyme
mm.
too. I mean, we're cooking here. We are both cooking here.
Right. We're cooking, but without pans and without food, but we're still
Exactly.
cooking.
We're cooking mentally in a
And you
connection.
found him. Did you find a connection with him right away, or did it come later? Or how did you feel about him when you first met him?
I found to be extremely connected with him because I enjoyed his music prior to meeting him. So it's almost like I assume what people are like meeting you because you have touched so many folk that they feel a connection with you before even speaking to you. So that is kind of the same thing. You know, when you meet somebody that has touched you with their music, I feel like it's very easy to feel like you already know them. So it's a very easy introduction in that way. So that's how I felt meeting John. And that's how I feel meeting a lot of. I've been very lucky to work with a lot of my idols. Not you yet, which I hope to
Well,
do.
did you ever get a chance to listen to Vegas? That song Vegas. It's not out
I,
yet.
I
Did you
did.
hear
I
that
did.
one?
I did hear it. You did send it
Please
to
come
me.
to Vegas. Yes.
Oddly enough, you sent it to me via email, the same service that I keep trying to reach you on. So I'm not really sure what's going on your end.
Right.
Maybe it's a
Right,
Gmail
right.
thing.
Well,
Yeah,
I get ideas. I get ideas in my head, and I want to fulfill those ideas. And I
sure.
think with you, I look at you as possibly me when I was younger,
It's
because you
touching.
do music and you know music and you like to write music and you know what it means to feel music. And tell me what it was like when you first realized, wow, I might have an affinity for this music thing.
It was a spark of light that hit me when I was a very young boy, and I really enjoyed making noise. And I think that once I was able to translate that noise into something discernible, I felt that I should keep pursuing that. So I started playing. I started by playing saxophone in the school
But
band.
before you get to that, talk
Yeah.
about that first chord. Was it a guitar that you were working? What were you first playing?
Was a guitar. It was a guitar. It was a guitar, and I found my father's harmonica neck brace, that Dylan-esque kind of thing, and I put both of them on and just kind of made noise, and that resonated with me. Uh, and I thought, there's a video of it actually. I'm maybe a year or two old of me messing around with that, and I think that's where the initial spark came from. And I like the idea. So
You
so
like the
yeah,
idea,
it
and you like the.
inspired me since then.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And do you remember your first? You must remember your first song that you wrote.
The no, I actually don't. I think I made a lot of gibberish when I was a kid, but I did write a bunch of songs in high school that nobody ever heard because I wasn't popular or known to many. So I kept them close to me. But I
It's very.
think,
That's what I
yeah,
didn't do. That's what I didn't
right.
do. I
No, you've
wasn't able
been,
to keep my very vocal. I don't want to be as vocal as I am, but I can't help myself. I can keep my mouth shut, and it's hard for me, and it caused me great stress. I mean, even talking about it right now, I'm trembling. But
yeah,
I
you
wish I
seem
was
disturbed
more.
by it.
I wish I was more quiet, but I can't be quiet because I have to make noise, and I don't want to. I have to call people. I don't want to.
Do
I
you
just
feel
want to
like
sit.
you are disturbed by the presence of others, but you are also called to bring them joy and entertainment because you are a superstar?
You keep saying this legend superstar, but most people don't realize the impact that I've had on music, and maybe they shouldn't, But the first three albums, or the last three albums, and that's how you look at it. Am I at the beginning of something? Am I at the end of something? Am I at the end of my rope? But I don't
Mm.
even have a rope, and I don't even know where you would get a rope, and I don't want a rope.
Why do you think that expression exists?
Well, because people used to have ropes more. People used to have horses and they used to play with ropes and things like this. But for me, the last time I've seen I don't remember the last time I've seen a rope. I
You
don't
have
even
no
go
rope,
through air. I don't. But yet I'm at the end of my rope
so you
in some
identify
ways.
with with the concept of a rope. You just don't, you haven't seen one in a while.
No, I've seen pictures. I've seen them on video, but it's much in the same way that I don't allow myself to pop. I don't let
Huh,
let myself pop.
of
I
course.
don't let myself talk. I don't let myself out. And I don't go with ropes.
It's
And I
odd
don't.
because, but I just want to say it's odd because you do host a show where you are talking to people. Um, and I guess that's part of your artistry is that you don't
I
want to be
think
doing this
you're
at all.
I think you're confusing me with Kelly Ripa. Notice
I
I
was
didn't pop
confusing
the
with Killer
key
Your
on
Butt.
that.
I
Yes,
did.
I know
Yeah.
we have basically the same spirit,
Yes, I did.
and
Thank you for Kelly
it's
Ripa this whole time, honestly. I did not, I just realized that I know I was calling you Ditto, but I thought Kelly this whole
you
time.
must you must have the greatest hair in the world. No one has hair like you. What is it
Thank
made
you.
of?
It's made of traditional hair. I would say strands of protein that grow out of my scalp. and it's kind of red-ish and a little gray because I'm getting up there a little bit.
Are you
But
40? Can you say if you're 40 or not? Are you 40?
I'm not 40 yet. I will be. I will be at some point. I will achieve that age. Hopefully. Hopefully. I don't want to not.
Well,
I don't want to not be. I don't
I
want to die. What if this is the last interview? Uh, what if this is our last interaction and I pass to the great beyond? Would you
well,
feel responsible, or would you write a song in my
m-
memory?
I don't know if I'd write anything. I'd probably be
Oh,
very sad, and I'd probably want to just lie down and feel the rain coming through on my television set audio when I listen to the different megahertz. I love the megahertz. I listen to all
mm,
the different megahertz. I know 470 and I listen to 320, and one's for deep sleep and one's
mm,
for mindfulness and one's for prosperity and one's for delusion. I like to listen to the one about delusion when I get crinkles. I get so many crinkles and I want to be deluded and I want to delude myself.
yeah.
That's what I
What
do. Yes.
what is a crinkle? Just
A
so it just
crinkle.
let's say I don't know. I know what it is. Let's
uh,
say someone out there doesn't know what it is.
I think crinkle is what you need it to be. It's not like crinkly cut fries, although
Sure.
that is the origin of a word like that. But no, it's very matter of fact. It's flippant. It's going through a gazebo, and you
Mm.
don't know where you are.
I do love your way of, like I said, talking, and your way of knowing what the different megahertz were. And I don't want to bring up a touchy subject. I know this is touchy. But before your solo success, you were in a group called the Megahertz, were you not? And you had kind of a falling out with them.
Mm.
Was that a tough? Do you ever consider writing a biopic about yourself and that time?
No, 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 no. The only thing I would write to cover my memories of that time would be a post-it, and I would
Mm,
write on there, "Don't do this," and I shouldn't have joined the band. And even though I started the band, I shouldn't have joined the band. I should have known to start it and then go to sleep or something. But
sure.
it was very hard for me to be able to be in the room with other people. I have very, very weird sensibilities when it comes to this sort of things, and yet I am virtuous in almost too many different ways. So I don't like to be in so I couldn't do it as a band. So I had a very long, long, long chord, and I was almost in another place. I was outside of the
Mm.
performance areas. I wasn't even in the room,
Oh wow,
and
that's
yeah, because
guessing.
I could yeah, because I just can't do it and it doesn't feel right and I don't want to do it. If there's something you don't want to do, you shouldn't do it. And it's
Sure.
always easier not to do something. And that's the thing, you know. Everybody always says to people, "Oh, you should go. You should get up and go to the gym." But maybe you shouldn't. I mean, maybe you're going to drop a weight on your foot. Maybe there's a reason you don't want to go. You're not listening to the reasons.
That's a good point. Something that happened to me recently is I accidentally closed my thumb in a door, and
Oh.
it hurts. And maybe the lesson that I'm learning now by talking to you is I shouldn't walk through any doors uh, ever again if I don't
Well,
want to.
maybe, but maybe this is your opportunity to start hitchhiking,
It's
because you got
true.
the big thumb.
Me
Or
too.
maybe maybe paint the whole thing green and tell people you have a green thumb. Although you wouldn't have to tell them because it would be green.
Right. Unless the person had some sort of colorblind affliction, in which case I would have to tell them, hey, the thumb was green. Because I want them to be in on the joke too. You don't want to exclude the colorblind community from the pun. I think uh, I think that's very important, honestly.
Well,
And
the colorblind community and the actual blind community are two different things, and they fight each other in the form of postcards. They will send postcards to each other, and it's pointless. It's pointless in some ways, but yet it drives them to be less hateful. Oddly enough, so when they get a postcard, you kind of smile or you kind of feel weird, but you don't have to go somewhere to send someone a postcard either. I don't think people realize that.
is there a central address for the blind? where these postcards are being
You
sent?
know,
Is
I don't know. I wouldn't know. I have a bookmark, I think, with an address on there. I don't know which
mm,
book though. But there are times tables. You know, times tables when you're learning multiplication. There are
sure.
times tables that look like druids, and they're foreign and they're weird, and they're straight up in the air and they're perfectly balanced, and people don't know how they got there. Well, that's the
Oh,
colorblind. That's the colorblind society. You'll never hear about them.
you do a
But
lot of work with the colorblind, correct? Sorry about that.
I do a lot of you laugh. I know you're laughing because you think that's very strange, but
I
they
thought it was
suffer
strange that
too.
somebody walked through the frame, but not this topic to me is very serious. You do a
Oh,
lot of work with.
I think you're hiding what you meant before. I don't think anyone walked by. I don't remember seeing anyone walk by, but maybe
Oh,
I
there
was
was a
looking. I
yeah,
look
there was
around
a
like this.
figure.
Or something.
You do, which is what I think you're doing is what I think you're doing is coming up with a new song or a ditty even or a lyric or a melody. So
Well,
I try not to interrupt you when you are looking to the sky. I would imagine getting divine inspiration. You're looking directly in the face of God. I mean, that's what it sounds like. Your music sounds like that. Muscle Beach,
well,
Muscle Bitch,
muscle bitch. Yes, yes.
Muscle
But people
Bitch.
do faux pas and say beach, because you're not supposed to say bitch everywhere. But I
Sure.
don't know why, because it means a female dog that's pregnant. So why not call a bitch, And it's hard because I have a cat and my other cat died, so I only have one cat and I need to get another cat so
Hmm.
that he's not lonely and so that when my other cat dies, I'm not going to be as sad. So it's sort of a little for him, a little for me. We both can enjoy this new cat.
Where do you source your cats?
Well, I outsource my cats actually.
Mhm.
I outsource them to local practitioners, the municipal people, people that work every day, like Japanese businessmen. You know,
Sure.
that
Yeah, no, that answered my question perfectly. Thank you. No, it's no further explanation needed. I totally got it. You outsource your cats to municipal people who work every day. Is that a money making endeavor? How are your in our industries experiencing kind of a lull right now? How are your finances these days?
Well,
Ditto.
they're very modest, they're very meager, they are what they are, but I don't ask for much and I don't need much. I eat beans with olive oil. I don't like to, dance around with cereals and milk or anything like that. I
Sure.
like Greek yogurt because I need to be regular, and this goes on, and the list continues. I like those oranges that are easy to peel. I won't eat oranges that are hard to peel. I won't get
Oh.
anywhere near them, and I won't even slice them up. I won't get anywhere near them.
Do you have a person that slices your food for you? Like you are like again, I'm sorry to use the word again, but you're a legend and I don't know where you live, but I assume it's some sort of castle and you have people helping you because obviously look at you, look at your hair. Your hair looks amazing. You have the ascot on. I don't see you as someone getting dirty with orange bits. So do you have a staff that helps you
No,
with these kinds of things?
I live in my mother's basement. I don't know where I am most of the time. I treat for her. I treat for her. I buy euros and things. I'm running out of money very fast because nobody wants to go to a Ditto Kiddo concert anymore. They don't even know where they are because I don't advertise because I'm not on internet.
Oh, so
Only
how
this.
would you say you do any business at all if you don't
I
advertise
don't.
your concert?
I
Oh, okay.
don't. I
All right.
don't. That's why I'm
All right.
sending you music. That's why I'm
Yeah.
trying to reach out. I'm trying to find a new avenue because what I want to do is something different and very strange and very weird. But I like to make albums. I like to do
Sure.
music. Last Disco, we just shot a music video for Last Disco that'll be out in a few weeks. But there's no money. I the money I made in the late '80s was a very minuscule amount to begin with. But I could afford to buy this scarf and gelatin and other things like that. So I consider myself very lucky.
Would you say the the things you need most in life are scars and gelatin?
No, I wouldn't say that at all. And you might be being smug when you say that. I don't know.
Never.
Maybe you've never been smug before.
I don't even know what that word means.
the shadowing on your the shadowing on your what the shadowing that's going on under your
Yes.
nose, and the people that see this can see you and I can see you, but under your nose, when you're at just the right angle, you look like the little Groucho Marx mustache in
That's
your.
Thank you. That's what I was going for. Oh, I see it now. Great. That's what I was going for, and I was hoping that I got the lighting right because again, when speaking to a legend, you want to appear like one as well. So I figured Groucho Marx would be appropriate and timely reference for the audience watching today.
It's as if I'm taking a headshot. So you look so good. You got your hand up to your head.
Look at
This
this.
is a headshot. You are constantly in the form of you're in the form of a guy getting his pictures taken, aren't you? You feel as if someone's about to, and then you put your wrist, and that's another position you're in right
Look
now.
at this. Yeah,
Another
it's
good
good.
position to take a
Thank you.
photograph of someone.
Thank
Are
you.
you always? Why are you always ready to be photographed?
I always feel like somebody's watching me. Is a song that I love to listen to
Rockwell.
as I'm at Rockwell, it's Sam Rockwell. As I have I would describe them as moderate psychotic episodes where I think that I'm being watched by various government entities and or the wildlife in my yard, and perhaps enemies I have out there that I'm not aware of. I think you get that. There's an era of paranoia to this business that we're in. Yeah,
Well, you'd be very surprised what I don't get. Many, many, many things. I don't understand those little door jam things that go on the ground and makes it
sure.
so they. Who thought of that? I mean, you can't. Can you copyright a triangle? It doesn't make any sense, and yet it does make sense, and yet people are making money. But I've never invented anything. All I've invented basically is three albums. I have three albums, and that's it.
The
Because
first and the last. Yeah,
the one, two, three. Those are my first
yeah,
three or my last three. Either way you look at it, it's three.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
You know, speaking of door jams, I wish I had had one. Then I wouldn't have an injured thumb because it would have prevented the door from hitting it. So it's very wild that you mentioned that. It's almost, you know, you're very in tune with your guests, and I really
Well,
appreciate that about you.
I appreciate you appreciating that about me, and I appreciate the whole thing. But what I want to know is what exactly happened to you with your thumb?
I
Did you
was
smash it into? What did you do?
I was closing a door, that classic thing that most of us do, and the door was faster than I was. Um, The hinges must have been extra greasy. I'm really not sure because I don't remember greasing the hinges to such a degree that it would outpace me, but it outpaced me and my thumb was in its direction. It was in its target zone where a thumb shouldn't be, just more door should be. And my thumb became entrenched between the door frame and the door, and it created a wound upon me. Um, that could only be made by that door, and so it was a painful experience, and I had to go to urgent care and get it looked at. It was like a whole thing, but again, I learned a lot about how doors open and close.
Why did you have to go to urgent care? You said I had to go. Someone told you to go. Did someone tell you to go? Did you tell yourself to go?
I think I told myself to go because I tried to apply my own very limited medical knowledge and expertise to addressing the wound, but it was a little more serious than I think I was equipped. So I went to an urgent care because I wanted to take care of it in a more urgent matter. So I figured, why not go somewhere that has that in the name? And they they put glue on the wound in order for it to, because the skin was removed. It was a very gross experience, and so they glued it back together and then wrapped it. And now I'm taking antibiotics so that I don't catch whatever the door had.
Well, that's the part that I don't totally understand the antibiotics,
Sure.
but maybe you did prick your finger or your thumb rather, and something happened at that point at the point of contact. But you also said that the hinge was extra greasy. What do you mean, like McDonald's greasy or like John greasy?
Like John Greasy, the John Wayne Greasy. who was a lesser known serial killer from the
Right.
80s, who just only covered his victims in Greece. He didn't kill anybody. So serial killer is not really the apt title here. But yes, I feel that the hinges were very loose and liquid and rapid.
Yes.
There was not a lot
Those.
of friction to stop the door. In a normal door swing way, it was faster than your average door, which is why
Mm.
I don't think I could compute getting my thumb out of the way. Which a thumb is, I've learned, not a finger, not a member of the finger family. It's its
No,
own
it's
thing.
not. Yes. How did you realize that? How did you come to the realization of that? Did the doctor tell you that?
No, I was pondering my injury, and I thought we have names for, index finger, uh, middle finger, ring finger, pinky finger. Nobody really says thumb finger. They just say thumb. So
Do you
I don't know
think
what happened.
do you think Ringo Starr refers to his as a Ringo finger?
I would
He
hope
said,
so.
"This is a
I would
Ringo finger."
I would hope so. I would
And
hope that.
the exact position you're well, you just moved, but
What was I doing?
the exact position you're in looks like you have a rectangle earring in your ear.
This is an Apple AirPod. But
No,
I
I'm
would,
talking much bigger than that. This doesn't matter, it's not important. But I do
yeah.
love your reindeer chandelier. It's
Thank
not
you.
from real reindeer, yet reindeer brought those reindeer.
They
So what
did. They
happened again? The reindeer came to you with this fake reindeer antlers, and then
chandelier.
the reindeer didn't say anything, they just dropped them there and left.
They just dropped it off. They again, it came fully wired with bulbs and everything. I would assume a gift in their culture, and they dropped it off. They didn't say anything to me. Um, and I have an immense respect for reindeer. I always have. I've always, if you look at any other interviews I've done, I always talk about this. And I just think that maybe they had heard me on a podcast or something, and they appreciated the shout out because it's hard to get press these days.
It certainly is, and to get someone of your stature and of your kindness to be able to take some time. I know the last time we tried to record this, we weren't able to because the recording equipment was, I guess it was the StreamYard or whatever the hell it is, it went
Yes,
down for the time. But now to be able to look at you and be able to talk to you is so wonderful, and to be able to get to know you, and uh, you have such a long career ahead of you, and you're so young. So I thank you for joining us. And is there anything you want to plug?
Uh, there's there's uh there's uh there's a show I'm doing on the 28th of June in Los Angeles at Andy's WeHo, which is Anderson Park's Club, and we're doing a live show of Sherman's Showcase. And then please watch your current season of RuPaul's Drag Race, and watch the season of RuPaul's Drag Race UK in the fall. And I want to plug Ditto Kiddo as my hero, and I want to say, uh, our earlier conversation just really quickly. I do think Ringo calls all of his fingers Ringo's fingers. Why would he just limit it to the ring?
Right.
Because they all are attached to him. I can't thank you enough for having me in this conversation. This is the most we've talked, I think, ever, even though we've been in the same room many times. And
Yes.
I look forward to hopefully speaking again when you do figure out where and when you are.
So very true. And you have that eagle eye, which allows you to create such wonderful pieces and such a memorable music. And I thank you for being here and
Thank you.
allowing me to allow you to thank me for being the legend that I am. And I don't want to go any further than that, just to say
Thank you.
thank you, Freddy Scott, for the hour.
Thank you so much.